ready to run through a wall.
We're going to run some clock, or maybe some.
This team is destined. One of the worst weeks in Philadelphia sports history. I mean, it's just so bad. The Phillies are so unserious about winning. They are such a pathetic franchise. Dave Dombrowski is beyond clueless. Dave Middleton, all we ever hear this cat say is how he wants his trophy back. He wants to win. That's all he cares about. But everything I see out of this organization is cluelessness and just delusionalness. Instead of bringing in Bichette as a 311 hitter, 30 homers, shows up in the postseason, they bring back JT Realmuto on a 3-year, $45 million contract with an incentive and a chance to get $60 million a year. The Phillies are just pathetic. I mean, it's pathetic. They are hitting rock bottom. People need to realize this. There's a real chance for the Philadelphia Phillies to miss the postseason this year. People need to understand that. I'm actually so frustrated with this team that you have to look at so many different angles. So, what's up, everybody? Good to have you on the show. You're listening to Broad Street Sports. We're breaking down the fact the Phillies can't bring in Bichette because their upper management's clueless. I want to hear your thoughts on this. 215-839-8246. That's the number to get in. Love to hear from you because this is a monumental F-up. That's what this is. That's what this is. For years now, the Phillies have lost in the postseason because they have yet to have a hitter that can hit when there's pressure. They have yet to have a hitter that shines when the pressure's on. They have it. And they have never had that. And that's the issue. We can say whatever, man. You can say whatever you want with this. There's a lot of issues here. And that money they would spend to bring in, to go and bring in Bellinger, because now all of a sudden you hear that the Phillies are trying to bring in Cody Bellinger. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You give all this friggin' money to JT, and then you also hear deep down that they're trying to they're checking in on Cody Bellinger. What a disgrace. What a nightmare. This is a nightmare. On top of it, this guy goes to the Mets. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. We have a good show for you guys planned here. I want to hear from as many people as possible. 215-839-8246. That's the number to get in. There is a lot of things to touch on, primarily Bichette and then JT as well, because that's an absolute friggin' nightmare of a contract. So to start the show, we're going to bring in my main man here, my main man Gavin. He's a little beat reporter. He reports on Philly sports reports, and he knows what he's talking about. He's going to break down the numbers. He's going to give his reaction to it. Let's go to him. Let's go to my buddy Gavin. You're on Broad Street Sports. Up, Gavin?
Dude, what a day, man, so far.
Oh, it's a disaster. This is a disaster. You want to talk about monumental F-ups. That's what the Phillies have right here. It's a monumental F-up. That's what this is.
I know, man. It's insane. And, we've texted here and there about, Bichette and the likelihood. And everything was pointed towards the Phillies landing him. It wasn't like a situation where, it was up in the air like, oh, could the Phillies get it? It slowly became an actual possibility. You had, ESPN insiders saying, it's going to happen. They strongly believe in that. Bichette has mutual interest. The Phillies hired the Blue Jays bench coach. It was a whole thing in the scheme. They made certain moves and looked at their payroll and said, we have, 60 to 90 mil coming off next season. We traded Strom to free up money.
Right.
Like they were aiming on Bichette. And the sucky part about this as well is last night they met his demand. They agreed and met his demand on the $200 million for 7 years with a no trade clause.
Right.
They agreed on that. But when Tucker signed, Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, got so pissed off that he said, we're going to give Bichette $42 million a year. We're going to give him a no trade clause. and we're going to throw 2 opt-outs in there. And that was the swing for the Mets. It's because Preston Mattingly and Dave Dombrowski have publicly stated they don't do opt-outs. The Phillies will not do an opt-out in the contract, which resulted in the Mets landing Bichette.
So let me ask you. There's a lot to cover here, and you're my guy for a lot of the big time information that's out there. I go to you, and I trust your information. So let's go with this, and I'm kind of flying off the cuff here with these questions, but so you're saying that the Phillies. So from my understanding, the Phillies and Bo Bichette were in agreement basically last night. And then Kyle Tucker signs, and that absolutely destroys the market. And he realizes he can go somewhere else for basically $50 million a year.
Absolutely.
And that was the Phillies are freaking stuck in 2010 and back in the 90s, where you can say, "Hey, I'll give you 8 years on a massive contract." But now the fact that there's the Dodgers and the Mets, and they're able to give $50 million a year. The Phillies can't compete with that, and they don't want to give the opt-outs, which, by the way, every player at this point has an opt-out decision. They have every opt-out on their contract after every single year. Every guy gets $50 million a year. The Phillies will not be able to sign anybody until they realize that you have to give opt-outs. You have to be willing to give $40, $50 million a year and give people not 9-year contracts, but give people 3, 4, 5-year contracts. The Phillies don't know how to do it. And a large majority of that falls because of the piss poor contracts they gave out to Taiwan, to Castellanos. And we can keep going for days. Now this JT one, which we're going to get into. I mean, it's a disaster. But they were in agreement with the contract, and now all of a sudden he pulls out because he realizes that he has an opportunity somewhere else to make $50 million a year.
Yeah, dude. You're spot on, man. I mean, last night, from what I was told and from what I heard, was that they had strong mutual interest. The Phillies front office believed that they're going to sign him in the morning. Bichette believed it was the same thing. And then all of a sudden, Tucker says, "I'm going to do a short-term deal with the Dodgers. I'm going to make $60 million a year."
Right.
And then that destroyed the market. Then Bichette knew if he's making $60 million on a short-term deal and the Mets offered that to him, then I'm going to get my agent to check with the Mets to see what they're going to offer me. And, Steve Cohen, everyone knew the Phillies were the team to land Bichette.
Yep.
So, of course, Steve Cohen is going to pull a Steve Cohen. Yep. And he was pissed off and said, "I'm going to get Bichette now." And that's what happened.
Right. Everybody, I'm on the phone right now with my buddy Gavin, a very good reporter, my go-to guy with all Philadelphia sports. He's on the phone breaking down the numbers, breaking down the inside information. So let me ask you. So I've seen a couple reports now, one from Alex Cole on Twitter. Phillies are checking in on Bellinger. What does checking in mean? Do you have any information on Bellinger? And if this is a real possibility, do they even have the money to bring in Cody Bellinger?
Yeah, good question, man. Alex is one of my buddies, so it's kind of funny you brought him up. He's a good guy. I would say that the checking in is true, but checking in, it's a big word that anyone can use, and they could take it and make a statement or a question with whatever they want with it. The Phillies checking in is basically checking in on what's his highest bidder. Is it the Yankees? If so, what's the contract? Are they doing the $300 million for 12 years? Are they doing $275? Are they doing opt-outs? What's the deferred money? So checking in with Bellinger is basically trying to find out from, Bellinger and his agent if he has interest in Philly and what the bidders are going for him right now. So the likelihood of that, in all honesty, I don't think it's going to happen. From what I've also been told, I don't think it's going to happen. A Harrison Bader reunion with the Phillies could happen.
Is that a real possibility? Is that a real possibility?
Bader could come back. A lot of teams have not shown interest in Bader because they don't trust his second-year performance. They just think he got lucky. They don't trust it. He hasn't had consistent numbers. So the Phillies could potentially bring Bader back on a reasonable deal. But the Bellinger, in contact, that's a long shot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. So let me ask you this one here. As we know that now JT's back on a 3-year, $45 million deal with a chance to get up to $60 million, like $5 million every year in incentives or whatever, bonus, whatever. What does that mean for the Phillies? Or their hands are, I'm assuming, are very tied now. The money that they were able to spend on possibly bringing in Bichette, and then possibly bringing in Bader, and that money that if they're really thinking about bringing in Bellinger, That money is now wasted down the drain because you decided to bring back JT Realmuto. How does that affect them? Does it affect them? What information do you know? Because here's the thing: the Phillies, from what I understood, were not willing to go past 2 years with JT. He wasn't receiving any bidders from anywhere across the league besides the Phillies. And then it seemed like the Phillies were so desperate to make a move and try and, like, quote unquote, make the fan base happy, which, by the way, signing JT made me more pissed off. But in my opinion, I think that they made the JT deal just to say, oh, well, we're actually doing something. Where do you stand on that? Because to me, they just said, you know what, JT, we'll give you whatever you want. Because that is a totally player-friendly contract.
Absolutely. That is a desperate move.
Yeah.
I mean, they had talked to JT, and they didn't want to go 3 years. It was 2 years. They didn't want to go 3 years, and the money that JT was demanding, they weren't in favor of it.
Yep.
So them losing Bichette was basically Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton and Preston Mattingly saying, we have a really passionate fan base, okay? We have a top 5 payroll in the MLB. The Mets just got Bo Bichette, which is more competition. We lost Ranger Suarez. We have to sign JT now. If we don't get JT, we don't have a catcher. So they basically, I mean, congrats to JT and his team. They did a wonderful job.
They did.
I mean, the money JT is getting paid is insane for 3 years. It could go up to $60 million, which is insane. So congrats to his team. They struck gold.
They did.
But that is a desperate move from the Phillies, and it's to pivot from Bichette.
I mean, it's just an absolute disaster. It is. You know, you want to talk about the Phillies every single year. We can talk about the Phillies. The Phillies have a real opportunity to miss the postseason this year. And the quicker people realize that, the faster you would be okay with this. They miss out on Bichette, who's a 311 hitter, can hit 30 homers a year, bunch of RBIs, hits in the postseason. They bring back Kyle Schwarber, who had his best year, flopped in the postseason. They bring back a 35-year-old catcher who, for 3 years and a crap load of money, and they just give them the contract. They don't even care at this point. It's just we have a pitching rotation that's good, but a lot of question marks. The bullpen's a question mark, even though they look to be half decent. There's still question marks in the bullpen. They still have Castellanos on the books. There's no suitors for him. Bohm is still in the books. At this point, we're going to have Bohm batting fourth still. You know, there is so many fundamental issues on this team, and this is just another one of them. This is a colossal screw up. The quicker people realize Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton are as clueless as anybody, there's a problem. And the faster people realize that the Phillies will, unfortunately, and it hurts me to say this, but it's unfortunate, that they will never be able to compete with the Mets and the Dodgers money-wise, because the Mets and the Dodgers, to me, they just have endless amounts of money. So Middleton and the Phillies are like a stepbrother to the Dodgers and to the Mets, because you've seen the Dodgers give out $150 million contracts like it's nothing. The Mets swoop in. You didn't hear the Mets with Bichette once. Now all of a sudden they sweep in, they get the guy because they're able to hand out contracts. The Phillies don't have it, and that falls on Dombrowski for allowing a massive contract to Taijuan Walker, which was a massive flop. Allowing a massive contract to Castellanos, which was a massive flop. The contract to Nola, which was a massive flop. We can go on and on and on. Re-signing Kyle Schwarber was, there's a lot of different. Re-signing JT. This is a colossal screw-up, and the Phillies have a real chance to miss the postseason this year.
They do, man. I will say this. Bellinger, they could be in contact. I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to go back to the Yankees ultimately. But yeah, you're not gonna win. You're not gonna win with you have aging players. There's going to be injuries. You're not going to win with signing Adolis Garcia. Right. I mean, you don't know how Crawford's going to play now. He's a rookie. There's so many question marks with the team, and you lost Ranger. Oh, yeah. So I mean, you took a gamble to get Bichette. I'm glad they made an attempt at the end of the day, but it wasn't enough. I mean, it just wasn't enough, and we'll see what they do now. It will probably be another situation where at the deadline, we'll all be, going on Twitter and Instagram to see what they do, but they're probably going to have to trade for another platoon bat.
Yeah, that's what they do. Story. It's the same thing every year. Gavin, I really appreciate all your insights. Gavin Sweeney, the man. I appreciate you, Gavin. Thank you, brother. He's the man. He's my go-to guy. My absolute go-to guy. I need, throughout this entire Bo Bichette information, this entire Bo Bichette crap with the Phillies for the past 3 weeks. I go to Gavin for all my information. He's absolutely wonderful. He knows what he's doing. He's got all the inside sources. Phillies, Eagles, Sixers, Flyers. He's got it all. He's my main man. 215-839-8246. That's the number to get in. Now we can really bang out some reaction calls from people as we got the kind of money talk out of the way. The contract, all the very important things. Now we can kind of get into what's on people's minds here, because this is a colossal screw up. This is a colossal screw up. It's not like Bichette woke up one day or today and was like, okay, well, the Dodgers offered me this massive contract and I'm going to go to the Dodgers. If it was the Dodgers, it'd be one thing. This cat woke up to a massive contract from the New York Mets after last night basically being in an agreement with the Philadelphia Phillies. He was in agreement with the Philadelphia Phillies last night. He wakes up this morning to a massive contract from the Mets and goes to the Mets. This guy should be booed to no end when we see him here in Philadelphia. He should be booed. This dude's a disaster. This dude's an absolute disaster. And this contract, the fact that Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies went through 2 meetings with this guy, one I'm assuming in person, one over Zoom, or both in Zoom, and they exited both meetings without a contract, without the player, and then they get the contract last night, they wake up 11:30. He's not a Philly anymore. It's an absolute disgrace. It's an absolute dreaded nightmare. Let's go back to the phones. Buddy, Alex, what's going on, Alex?
I don't even know where to begin. This couldn't have got any worse for the Phillies.
No, I agree with you.
I mean, I don't know where the Mets came from. The difference between the Mets and Phillies is, Mets fans weren't happy with Stephen Cohen and, whoever their general manager is, because, they let Pete Alonso walk to Baltimore. And, fans were hearing it, but they followed it up with Bichette.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What does Sean Middleton and Dave Dombrowski do? Re-sign Kyle Schwarber to a terrible deal, in my opinion. That contract is terrible. Right. We still have Castellanos on this team. I mean, they're saying we're going to have to eat up $17 to $20 million of his contract to get rid of him. I mean, at that point, just keep him. Yeah. I mean, we're going to be paying the dude not to play in Philly. We have Taijuan Walker on this team. I mean, why is Taijuan Walker still on this team? We have uncertainty with our pitching. We don't know how Wheeler's going to, when Wheeler's going to return, how he's going to respond from being, injured with blood clots. It's not like he had a minor injury. The dude had blood clots. We don't know about Andrew Painter. The bullpen, you can say the bullpen got better, but, we're not losing these playoff games because of bullpen or starting pitching. We're losing it because our guys can't hit. And you look at our lineup, we replaced Nick Castellanos with Adolis Garcia. Pretty much the same guy.
It's the same
they
player, yeah.
both strike out. They both strike out at, an insane rate. Sure, Adolis can give you, let's say 25 to 30 home runs if he has a good year, but he's also going to be batting 215 like everybody else on this team. This team does not have a single guy outside of Trey Turner that can bat near 300. I don't care what Bohm did last year. Bohm's terrible. Bohm's not going to give you 300, although he gave you 285 last year. But, he bats 285 in the regular season, and then, come playoff time, the dude can't hit.
No.
Bryce is going to give you 270 with, 25 home runs maybe, but he's going to miss 40 games. Schwarber's going to give you 45 bombs, but bat 190. I mean, you look at this team, we're a regular season team. That's what we are. We'll dominate the regular season, and I don't even think we're going to dominate the regular season this year.
Well, I tell you this, I think there's a real opportunity for the Philadelphia Phillies to miss the postseason this year. I think there's a real possibility of that. I'm not saying that it's a high percentage of possibility, but I'm saying that there is a real chance that the Philadelphia Phillies miss the postseason this year due to the fact that the injuries. Bryce can't stay healthy. We just re-signed JT, who can't stay healthy. We don't know what this starting rotation is. We don't know what Nola we're going to get. You don't know what Painter you're going to get. You're going to have literally Taijuan Walker pitching. The only people I actually have faith in is Christopher Sanchez and Luzardo, but Luzardo's is streaky. So I have faith in my starting rotation, but not as much as I did last year. This bullpen got better, but we say the same thing every year about the bullpen. The bullpen gets better, but every year they crumble in the big time moments in the regular season and in the postseason. They're not. They could sign all the best bullpen arms out there. They all come back down. It's ridiculous. This bullpen. So I just want people to realize here, there's a real opportunity for the Phillies to miss the postseason. You missed out on a guy that bats 311, 30 homers, bunch of RBIs. You miss out on him because you're afraid to spend money. And then the money that you could have spent on Bellinger or, I don't know, Bader, whoever. You gave it to JT Realmuto, a 35-year-old guy who can't stay healthy anymore and can't bat and definitely cannot hit in the postseason. I mean, how am I possibly supposed to back you?
I have two problems from today.
Yep.
And last night.
Yep.
So Kyle Tucker getting signed to the Dodgers, which I think I'm not going to get into the Dodgers and what they're doing, but I think it's a disgrace. Yep. But at the end of the day, there's no reason the Phillies don't do the same thing. It's not like only the Dodgers can do what they're doing.
Right.
But the Dodgers signing Kyle Tucker last night gives you a 99.99% chance there's going to be a lockdown. So there's going to be almost, maybe we get a shortened season, but if I was a betting man, I would put money on there will be no games played in 2027. So there's a lockdown coming. That's a year where you don't have Harper, you don't have Schwarber, you don't have Turner, you don't have Wheeler, you don't have Sanchez, you don't have all your big guys. This is it. This is it. The last year. This is it. There's not going to be baseball in 2 years. So this is it. This is either going to be, where we finally get it done or where we don't, like every other year. And we bring back Rob Thompson after last year, which is a disgrace. We bring back Kyle Schwarber. Bringing back Kyle Schwarber, it kind of reminds me of the Eagles. Everyone says, oh well. Nick Sirianni put his buddy in at OC, which I agree. I think what Nick Sirianni did. Yeah, no, I know. I'm not saying he didn't, but everyone's saying, oh, they brought his buddy in, whatever. Oh, not the Eagles. If the Phillies are doing the same thing, they're bringing all their buddies back. They're bringing all of Bryce Harper's buddies back. No, Harper wants Schwarber here. Harper wants Turner here. Harper wants, all these guys we're getting here. But, John Middleton and Dombrowski aren't putting their foot down and being like, listen, it's time for Schwarber to walk. It's time for, all these guys to walk that we're not let walk in, including JT. And I was listening to Ricky Bowe before I got on.
Mm-hmm.
Ricky Bowe said the JT signing right now is like someone getting shot and then putting a Band-Aid over the shot wound. I don't know if that's what he said.
It's true. And Alex, I really do appreciate the phone call. I really do. It is. I mean, the best way for me to describe signing JT Realmuto to that 3-year, $45 million contract is essentially Dave Dombrowski saying to himself, well, we just lost out on Bichette, but let me try and make the Phillies fans happy by re-signing JT. But honestly, if Bichette got signed by the Mets and we did not re-sign JT, I actually would still be depressed and upset and pissed. But I would feel way better if we didn't sign JT. We just gave a 35-year-old declining player that can't hit in the postseason, is always injured now because his knees are starting to fail. I mean, come on. This is a nightmare. This is an absolute friggin' nightmare. You can say what you want, when you want, how you want to. The Phillies have an opportunity to miss the postseason this year. Say what you want. Believe what you want. Rob Thompson's clueless. Dave Dombrowski. It's going to come down to, the end of July, throughout the month of July, at the end of July, you hear, the Phillies are in trade talks and checking in on Byron Buxton. The Phillies are checking in on Luis Robert. The Phillies are checking in on so-and-so. Has it ever once pulled through. Last year was the Phillies' only good trade deadline. Duran and Bader. But what did they do the previous years? They brought in Banks. It's just like ridiculous. Austin Hayes. Come on, man. The quicker people realize that this team, every single day that goes by, is just losing it. So I got a text from Gavin, who obviously was just on the phone. My buddy Gavin Sweeney, very good reporter for the Phillies, Eagles, all Philadelphia sports. He gives me this tweet. He says, break this on the show. So I'm going to break it to you guys. You guys are the first to hear this. Because obviously when I brought him on, we were breaking down and talking about the Phillies because they were checking in on Cody Bellinger. Here's what a report says. The Yankees are standing firm on their 5-year, $155 to $160 million offer to Cody Bellinger. They are not willing to increase it and have no intention on entering a bidding war. That is their final offer. So if the Phillies can sweep in here and give them basically the same contract and a little bit more money or whatever the case is, I believe you can bring in Cody Bellinger. So that's the official report. So I'm going to read this to you guys again. Here's the official report out of the Yankees camp with Bellinger. Their final offer, and they're standing firm. The Yankees are standing firm on their 5-year offer, $155 to $160 million offer to Cody Bellinger. They are not willing to increase it and then have no intention of entering a bidding war. That is their final offer. So if the Phillies can go in, maybe give them a couple of years, whatever it is. If the Phillies have a real look, if the Phillies want to kind of win back over the fan base, you kind of have to check in on Bellinger and really see if there's a real opportunity here. Because I think if Bellinger wanted to re-sign for that money, which has basically been on the table for a long time, he would have done it. The Phillies need to check in because I think that if you bring him in, I'd feel way better about this. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to my buddy Fratty in South Philly. What's going on, Frat?
So,
Fratty, what's going on, brother?
What's up? Where can I even start right now? Oh my gosh.
You know what? The floor is yours, Fratty. You want to rant, bro? I got you. Go ahead.
Well, first off, the fact that we lost out on Bichette is terrible. I mean, we were the head favorite. We were the head favorite almost 99% of the time. The media was fooling us. My buddy John Clark, we got fooled. Ken Rosenfeld was fooling us. All the media people are fooling us. They're not. No offense to all those guys, but they can't be trusted. They can't fully be trusted when it comes to that because look what happened. We were the head favorite to sign him. I'd say 90% of the time we were like pretty much the head favorite to sign Bichette, and then all of a sudden, very last moment around 12 noon or right before that, we heard it when we heard that gap dating back from last night to overnight. I think the Mets look like they overtook us early this morning as the favorites secretly early this morning because I seen a post 3 hours ago that we were favorites still according to John Clark, and that was all a lie. And I'm very disappointed in the Phillies organization. They let Bichette slide, and it's disgusting to me. I've tried not to waste so much energy arguing because it's bad. And now you're expecting to win with the same guys over and over. Bryce Harper, who it's hard to get out of that long-term deal with him. That's understandable. Kyle Schwarber, which I'll make an exception there. Trey Turner, we signed him. That deal involved a lot of money. But the fact of the matter is that we're keeping around guys like Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos. It's looking like is terrible. And I mean, the only guy kind of rather us sign, and I didn't even want us to sign JT either because he's 34 years old. He's old. He's old. They're not listening. So I kind of hope the only thing I gotta say is few more things is we gotta I'd say it's either re-sign Bader or we try to make a late push to try to get Cody Bellinger because as of right now, according to Gavin's, Gavin said the Yankees look like he's saying the Yankees.
I just broke that over the show.
To re-sign him.
The Yankees gave him the 5-year, $160 million offer. They're not going to increase it. I just broke that over the show. But
unless the Phillies try to one up the Yankees,
they could. I think to me, Friday, that is the one thing that they could do that would kind of make me feel better. You could bring in Bader as well, whatever it is. But there is a lot of lefties in this lineup. Friday, you got anything else for me? Anything else you'd like to say, bro?
But how about like maybe one or two other things? But I'm really concerned for the Phillies' future. I'm really concerned because they just blew an opportunity with a Bo Bichette, who's only 27 years old. He's younger than most of the stars we have. Schwarber, Harper, JT are all older than Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette, it can be a guy that can hit you 30 home runs a year.
Yep.
And he's got speed. He's faster than most of the guys on the team, which is crazy to me. But I'm just tired of it. But here's my thing too. Another thing I have to say, and I'll let you go in 1 or 2 minutes. Bryce Harper. I have a bad feeling that Bryce Harper is not going to stay for all 13 years. Something is going to drastically change where he's going to get sick of losing. And I know he said that he wanted to play here his whole career, and he has set in stone. But that could all change in the next couple of years. That could all change. I mean,
well, I remember. Well, he's in it, Fred. He's in a no trade clause, but the Phillies have an opportunity if they wanted to trade him, and they could trade him somewhere. This because he has a no trade clause. They could say Bryce can say, "Here's what I want. Here's where I'd be okay with going." He could either turn it down or not. But
But I think he might be. I think he's going to get eventually sick of losing and want out and want to try because why would he want to stay on a team that's not going to win the World Series?
No, I know. It's weird. It's going to be something to monitor. Friday, thank you for the phone call. 215-839-8246. That's the number again. I think all Philadelphia Phillies fans right now feel the exact same way. I know Friday had more to say. I love Friday. He's great. He's wonderful. But there's a lot of things here, man. There's a lot to unfold. There's a lot to unpack because you passed up. So here's what Bo Bichette and his contract with the Mets is. 3 years, $126 million. The Phillies re-signed JT Realmuto, the 3 years, $45 million with an opportunity to get $60 million because they want to give him $5 million a year in bonuses and incentives. What a nightmare! What a nightmare! You passed one. You got screwed over by Bichette. And at this point, I'm not even going to blame it all really on the Phillies. I mean, from what I'm understanding, from the inside sources, from reporters, from all across the league, the Phillies and Bo Bichette were in agreement last night. And this cat pulled out of it this morning for this big-time deal with the Mets. So as much as we want to yell at Dave Dombrowski and Middleton, because I absolutely am, because they fumbled this, they fumble every single trade deadline, they fumble every single free agency. This is a fundamental screw-up, but Bo Bichette was in agreement with the Phillies last night, and they couldn't, and he pulls out of the deal. He pulls out of the deal. To me, he's being a coward. He's being an absolute coward. There's a lot of issues. There's a lot of things that are just problematic. Dave is clueless. But you can kind of pull me in. You think you could kind of pull in the fan base a little bit more if you can bring in a Bellinger. If you could bring in if you match that contract with Bellinger or even a little bit more, I'd be okay with bringing in Bellinger. But you have to remember, there's a lot of lefties on this team. And where would Bellinger bat? You know what I mean? Where would he bat? Would you have 3 straight lefties? Schwarber, Harper, Bellinger, or Bellinger, Harper, Schwarber, whoever it is, right? Would you do that? I don't know. But the Phillies, if they're really checking in and if that's the Yankees' final offer and only offer, you need to really try and figure this out. Because I'll tell you what, I don't feel good at all heading into the season with this is a copy and paste lineup for 5 straight years. I got to tell you, I really don't feel good about it. Let's go back to the phones.
This is a copy and
Jersey.
Hey, Pops, what's going on, buddy?
Brother.
How are you?
Not good. It's a bad week, bro. It's a bad week. You know, we've talked a lot this week. Obviously, Eagles majority of the week. Me and you, we've talked on the show. We've talked, and and it is and now I got to deal with this. I thought we were going to have a good conversation about Bichette being a Philly. This guy screwed us. Dombrowski screwed us. I mean, how do you walk out of 2 meetings with the guy without a deal being done? 2 meetings with the guy, you walk out without an agreement being done.
Yeah, 2 meetings, walk out with an agreement being done. And to be honest, I didn't think that, like, from the start, like, yeah, they said it was optimistic, but I wasn't really sold on if he was going to sign. Like, last night was the first time we heard about the 7-year, $200 million deal. Yeah, he would be getting more money, like, at the end of his tenure, but I guess the Mets, like, Stevie Cohen, he needs to change the Mets, and obviously he's willing to do whatever it takes. And he's more of a competitor than Dombrowski, obviously. And I'm not surprised he's stepped in and offered him a better deal. And he's 3 years, $126 million. That's like $42 million a year. And the Dodgers are paying Tucker $240 for 4 years, which is $60 million a year. Like, that's not a sizable comparison between the two. Like, he's getting a good amount per year. And to be honest, like, the Phillies, they should have gave him that much money per year. Honestly, like, they need a change.
Worth it.
And
yeah,
it's worth it. Because now who else? There's no one else out there really. What are you going to try and pursue Bellinger, who's getting a great deal by the Yankees to stay with them, and you have to one up him now? Like, that's really the only thing you can do to get a stud. And, like, there's really nothing else they can do now.
Well, I'll tell you this. I would feel a lot better about the possibilities of signing Cody Bellinger if the Phillies didn't give that idiotic contract to JT, because this team already doesn't have enough money. The money to Castellanos, disaster. The money to Taiwan Walker, disaster. I mean, now you just gave a freaking contract to JT Realmuto when you could have. I mean, the Phillies have no more money left. There is no wiggle room left. Yeah, and you could bring in a Bader, and Bader's a great player, but I mean, like you said earlier in the show, teams are skeptical if he can have another great year back to back because he's inconsistent. I mean, he's a good player, but he's not like necessarily a game changer, though. You don't look at Harrison Bader and say, yeah, this guy's a Bichette. You know, I mean, I like Bader. And
he's not. He's not an everyday starter.
No,
he's not an everyday starter.
I'm okay with Bader being a starter, and I love Bader, and I loved him with the Phillies. But I don't look at Harrison Bader and I say, yeah, he's an A++.
He's not the guy you look at and you're like, this guy's going to take us far in the playoffs.
No, that's not him. He's a good role player. No. He's a good guy. He's a good not a motivator, but spark guy. That's him. He is. So whatever. But I think the only person that you could possibly bring in right now is him. I don't even think you have the money. You could match the contract with Bichette. I mean, with the Yankees, you can match a contract. But the 5 years, $160 million. Do you really see Dave Dombrowski and Dave Middleton going 6 years, 200? Whatever the case is. I don't see that. And here's the thing: you can't sell, you can't sell me really on bringing in Cody Bellinger and saying, yeah, well, we're going to give Cody Bellinger 8 years, 200 something. Like, that's a bad contract too. This team doesn't understand the value of money and contracts. The problem with this organization is, and I've talked about this on the show, it is, and this part of this of baseball, this part of the history of baseball, players and teams can give out 3-year, $150 million contracts with opt-outs after every single year. The problem with the Phillies and Dave Dombrowski is they think that they're still in 2010 and in the 90s, where you could say, hey, I'll give you 8 years, $150 million, and spread the money out. All these guys are starting to realize you can get, $150 million and $50 million a year for 3 or 4 years. You know what I mean? Like, people are starting to beat the system. And that's why the Phillies can't compete, because They aren't the Dodgers. They aren't the Mets. They don't have endless amounts of money. They're honestly like the stepbrother. They don't have the capability to be able to give out contracts like that. They especially don't have the money. You especially don't have it to be able to give out the contract money when you're paying Nick Castellanos and you're paying Taijuan Walker.
Yeah, and especially when you have like this is like a smaller free agent class for sure than the recent couple years we've had. And when you have guys like only like a certain amount of guys who are like studs and can be a complete game changer, like put a stop to your current players now. Like, don't worry about their contracts. Go all in on a guy you know who can change your team, and then just figure it out from there. Like, we should have went all in on Bichette as soon as the playoffs ended, as soon as we heard he was a free agent. Put the other contracts at first for the guys on your team now aside, and go after a guy like Bichette, like Bellinger, who can change your team in the regular season and in the postseason. And then worry about your guys after. But at least you have the guy you know who can change your team. Like, we should have gotten rid of Castellanos already. We should have gotten rid of Walker. JT, I'm fine with keeping him, but don't give him that big of a contract. Make it 2 years for like 35 mil, 40 mil, whatever. Like, don't sign him to that much to the point where you can't get any of these guys. Like, they might not even match Bellinger's offer with the Yankees.
So I just got a big report here. I'm going to break this down on the show here. So from Gavin, from the inside sources, the Phillies cannot and will not get Cody Bellinger. The report claims the Phillies were willing to readjust everything within their clubhouse and lineup for Bo Bichette, but without him, they are now unlikely to add another meaningful position player, which means they will not go out and match money for Bellinger. They are assuming it's because he's 30 years old, up and down, streaky hitter, and he's another lefty. They could bring back Harrison Bader and check in on Eugenio Suarez for the right-handed power bat, but you have to move on from Bohm if that's possible. So from what I'm understanding, the Phillies offseason's complete. They brought in Adolis Garcia and they brought in JT Realmuto, and this is the team that we are entering into the 2026 season with.
Yeah, not good.
No, it's not good. It's not good. It's an absolute disaster. And Will, I really do appreciate the phone call. It's a disaster. It's a disaster. The Yankees are offering Bellinger 5 years, $160 million, which is great. I mean, it's wonderful for him. He hasn't accepted it yet, but the Phillies will not give him that contract because they have nowhere to put him. He's another lefty. I don't know. I just don't get it. I'm frustrated. I really am. I'm annoyed. I really am. When we get back, we'll be taking more of your phone calls and comments. I'm way behind here on a commercial break. But when we get back, we continue to take more of your phone calls and comments as we break down the Phillies offseason with the Bo Bichette news and JT and now Bellinger. You are listening to Bro Street Sports, your home for the best Philly sports talk every day and unfiltered. If you're in South Philly and hungry, you need to check out Steak 'em Up on 11th and Shunk. They've got it all. Breakfast sandwiches, breakfast pizza, hoagies, classic cheesesteaks, fresh pizzas, and more. Everything's made and packed with flavor any time of the day. Stop by for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and see why locals keep coming back for more. Steak 'em Up, where South Philly comes to eat. Looking for a real Italian bite? Cafe Merlino at 6 Shoppers Lane in Turnersville, New Jersey has you covered. Fresh cutlet sandwiches, classic hoagies, and hearty pasta dishes, all made with care and the flavor you crave. Whether it's lunch or dinner or just a quick bite, every meal is packed with fresh ingredients and a bold taste. Stop by Cafe Merlino today and see why they're taking South Jersey and the Philly area by storm. Ride in style with Wagner Luxury Limo out of Swedesboro, New Jersey. Whether it's a ride to the game, an airport run, or a special night out, Wagner Luxury Limo gets you there safely and comfortably. Professional drivers, luxury vehicles, and a service you can count on. Book your ride today and arrive like a VIP. Visit online or call 856-481-8020. When it comes to tree work, Jason Pillar Tree Specialist in Galloway, New Jersey has you covered. From tree removal and trimming to emergency storm cleanup, they get the job done quickly, safely, and at a price you can trust. Keep your property looking at its best and protect your home with the pros at Jason Pillar Tree Specialist. Call today for your free estimate at 609-965-8003. That's 609-965-8003. And make sure you tell them Broad Street Sports sent you. What a nightmare. What a nightmare. That's what this team is. They are a nightmare. Every single day, every single week, every single game, every year, I have to cover this stupid franchise, along with the Sixers, along with the Eagles. I mean, every year it's just pathetic. It's the same thing non-stop. They miss out on their guy. They missed out on the ultimate piece because we knew they weren't going to bring in a Tucker. We knew they weren't going to bring in any of them guys. And honestly, at the end of the regular season, I had zero faith they were even going to try and bring in Bichette. They were right there. They had agreement. He pulled out of the agreement because Dombrowski and Middleton had zero clue how to they don't know how to close the deal. Let's take one more phone call and then we'll read a couple comments here on YouTube before we wrap up the show. Let's go to Luca in South Jersey. Luca, you're on Broad Street Sports.
How you doing, man? I think today shows just how complacent Dave Dombrowski is with being a mediocre franchise.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I do. They're not a good team. They're poorly ran, and their players don't execute. Their general manager's not good enough, and their team's not good enough.
No, and we say the same things every year. The coaches aren't tough enough, and management's just complacent. We're okay with just winning 90 games a year and getting bounced in the NLDS.
Yeah.
That's our standard now. That's the standard, and it's sad to see it that way.
The standard isn't to win a World Series. The standard is to win 95, 96 games, meet the Dodgers in the postseason, and hear from my general manager and from my head coach that, we ran into a good pitching staff. We ran into a good team. Well, no shit. Yeah, it's the postseason. Who are you going to run into? Bad teams? You don't play the Marlins every time. Come on.
And I'm tired of them saying, I like the people in this clubhouse. You tried for 4 years. It's not working.
Yeah. And it hasn't worked. And it won't work. That's the issue, right? We can talk about how this team rides on vibes and, their brother. That doesn't mean anything. This team needed a difference maker. Bo Bichette can bat 311, 30 homers, bunch of RBIs, hits in the postseason, hits under pressure. Or he's a total friggin' package for the Phillies.
How about keep Ranger?
Yeah, well, that's another thing. If you knew deep down that you were not going to be able to bring in Bichette, why didn't you keep Ranger? There's a lot of different issues because, they don't have the money. That's another thing. We could talk about keeping Ranger. We could talk about bringing in Bichette. They don't have the money to keep up with the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Mets because they give out these massive contracts to the losers like Castellanos and the Taiwan Walker who are still on the books. You're not going to win that way, and you cannot win that way. The Phillies won't win like that. And, Luke, I really do appreciate the phone call. I'll give you one more thing. One thing. Go ahead. Make it quick, please.
No. I think you covered everything, and hopefully we get new management that's going to create a higher standard for this organization.
I hope, Luke. I appreciate the phone call. I'll talk to you soon, bro. I know it's disgusting. Let's read a couple comments here on YouTube before we wrap up the show. Jesse, awful. It is bad. Phillies won 20. No, Phillies are getting old. How much are you going to run it back with the same core? At least the Mets are shaking things up. If McLean's the real deal, then they'll get another top line starter. It is over. I mean, it is. I'm actually scared of the Mets. I'm always scared of the Mets, bro. 3 next comments say Phillies won at 26. And Bohm sucks, though. I don't care how young Bohm is. Bohm blows. He shrinks in the postseason. Eastern Kentucky basketball. I can already see on our home opener how our first inning goes. Turner single, Schwarber strikeout, Bryce walk. Then we have first and second, one out. Boom, rolls into a double play to end the inning. That happens more than you people know. Phillies won 20. No. Philly, they say we are going back to 2016 and 2026. Phillies are definitely going back to 2016 Phillies. Get ready for 71 and 91. I wouldn't be surprised. I think there's a real opportunity for the Phillies to miss the postseason. I really do. Guys, I really appreciate everybody for joining. I know this is an odd time of the day, but we had to break down the Bichette news. But I really appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it. Send this to people you know. I go live daily for covering all things Philly sports. Hit the like button and subscribe. Share this to people you know. You have been listening to Broad Street Sports, your home for the best Philly sports talk every single day and unfiltered. Harper has been absolutely insane. I'm ready to run through a wall.
We're going to run some clock. Or maybe
This team is destined